The rain leaked through the broken roof in tiny drops. Plink, plink, plink. 10-year-old Daniel sat in the corner of the one-room house, holding a rusted metal cup beneath the leak while his mother tried to stretch the last handful of rice into dinner. Outside, thunder rolled through the dark streets of the poor neighborhood. Inside, silence carried something heavier than hunger, worry. Daniel watched his mother carefully scrape the bottom of the pot. She smiled at him anyway. "Mama," he whispered, "aren't you hungry?" She shook her head gently. "I already ate at work." But Daniel knew she was lying. He had seen her come home with nothing. No bread, no leftovers, not even tea. That night, while the storm hammered the roof, Daniel made a promise to himself. One day, he would never let his mother suffer like this again. But promises are easy when you're poor. Reality is harder. The next morning, Daniel woke before sunrise and walked 3 miles barefoot to the local market. He helped vendors carry boxes, swept dirt from storefronts, and loaded vegetables onto carts. For 10 hours of work, he earned exactly $1, one single crumpled bill. Most children his age would have spent it immediately on food or candy. Daniel almost did. As he walked home, the smell of roasted chicken drifted from a roadside stall. His stomach twisted painfully. He hadn't eaten since yesterday afternoon. The vendor smiled. $1 for a plate. Daniel reached into his pocket. His fingers touched the bill. He stared at it for a long moment. Then something strange happened. Instead of spending it, he folded it carefully and placed it back into his pocket. "No," he whispered to himself. "This dollar is different." That night, he hid the bill inside an old coffee tin beneath his bed. $1. That was all. But it was the first thing in his life that truly belonged to his future. The next day, Daniel worked again. Another $1. He wanted to spend that one too. And the next one. And the next. Because when you grow up poor, saving money feels almost impossible. Every coin already has a purpose before you even earn it. Food, rent, medicine, survival. But Daniel created a rule that changed everything. No matter what happened, he would save $1 every single day. Not 2, not 10, just 1. It sounded ridiculous. How could $1 change anyone's life? Even adults laughed when they heard about it. One shopkeeper chuckled and said, "At that rate, you'll become rich in 200 years." Others mocked him openly. Poor people don't get ahead by saving dollars. You need luck. You need connections. You need rich parents. Daniel said nothing. He simply kept saving. Every day, $1. Sometimes he earned more, but he still forced himself to save at least one. And slowly, something began to happen. Not in his wallet, in his mind. For the first time in his life, Daniel stopped thinking only about today. He started thinking about tomorrow. Weeks passed, then months. The coffee tin beneath his bed grew heavier. One evening, his mother discovered it while cleaning. Her eyes widened when she saw the stack of bills. "Daniel, where did this come from?" "I saved it. All of it." He nodded. She sat silently for a long moment. Then tears filled her eyes. Not because of the money, because for the first time, she saw hope inside her son. Years went by. Daniel became obsessed with learning. During the day, he worked. At night, he borrowed old books from a retired teacher who lived nearby. Business books, money books, books about successful people who came from nothing. He noticed something powerful. Almost every successful person understood one thing poor people were rarely taught. Small habits become enormous over time. Most people wait for a miracle, but successful people build momentum. Dollar by dollar, day by day, decision by decision. By age 16, Daniel had saved over $2,000. To some people, that wasn't much, but in his neighborhood, it was unbelievable. Friends pressured him constantly. Buy a motorcycle, buy new clothes, enjoy life. But Daniel had learned something dangerous about money. The moment you start spending to impress people, you become trapped by them. So instead of buying luxuries, he made another life-changing decision. He invested in a tiny second-hand food cart. Every morning before school, he sold coffee and bread to factory workers. The profits were small, but they were consistent. And consistency is where ordinary lives become extraordinary. At first, business was slow. Some mornings, he sold almost nothing. Other mornings, rain destroyed his supplies. Once, thieves stole half his inventory. Another time, a richer competitor parked nearby and nearly drove him out of business. Most people would have quit. Daniel almost did too. One freezing morning, after earning only $3 all day, he sat beside his cart exhausted. "What's the point?" he muttered. An old man nearby overheard him. The man walked over slowly and bought a cup of coffee. Then he said something Daniel would never forget. "Son, success usually looks impossible right before it works." Those words burned into his memory. So he kept going. $1 saved every day. One step forward every day, no matter how slow. By age 20, Daniel owned 3 food carts. At 23, he opened a tiny cafe. It wasn't fancy. The chairs didn't match. The walls needed paint, and the sign outside flickered at night. But it was his. The poor boy who once carried water beneath a leaking roof now owned a business. His mother cried the day he handed her the keys to a better apartment. "You kept your promise," she whispered. Daniel smiled. "No, Mama, I'm just getting started." But success brought new challenges. As the cafe grew, so did pressure. Employees depended on him. Bills multiplied. Competition increased. There were months when Daniel thought everything would collapse. One year, the economy crashed hard. Customers disappeared. Suppliers demanded payment. Banks rejected his loan applications because he had no wealthy background. Friends told him to give up. "You've gone far enough. Sell the business. At least you escaped poverty." But Daniel remembered something powerful. Poor people often stop too early because survival taught them to fear risk. Yet every breakthrough in life usually happens after the hardest moments. So instead of quitting, he doubled down. He studied marketing at night, learned customer psychology, improved service, cut unnecessary costs, and most importantly, he never abandoned the habit that started it all. Even after earning thousands, he still saved money every single day. Not because he needed to, because discipline had become part of his identity. That's the hidden power of small habits. At first, you control them. Eventually, they control your future. Years later, Daniel expanded from 1 cafe to 5, then 10, then an entire restaurant chain. Newspapers started calling him the millionaire who started with $1. Interviewers constantly asked the same question: what was the secret? People expected complicated answers, investment strategies, business formulas, hidden opportunities. But Daniel always gave the same response: "The first dollar changed my life." Most people looked confused. How could $1 matter so much? Then Daniel explained, "It wasn't the money, it was the decision. The decision to believe my future mattered. The decision to think long-term while living short-term pain. The decision to stay disciplined when nobody was watching." Because the truth is, success rarely arrives in dramatic moments. It grows quietly, in invisible choices repeated every day. The world celebrates millionaires, but nobody applauds the lonely years of sacrifice that created them. Nobody sees the nights Daniel went hungry so he could save. Nobody saw him studying business books under weak streetlights. Nobody saw him fail repeatedly before succeeding. They only saw the outcome, not the process. And that's why most people never change their lives. They want the reward without becoming the person capable of earning it. One evening, many years later, Daniel returned to the neighborhood where he grew up. The streets looked smaller now. The broken houses remained. Children still played barefoot in the dirt, and poverty still hung heavily in the air. A young boy approached him nervously. "Mister, are you really rich?" Daniel laughed softly. "I suppose so." The boy hesitated before asking another question. "How?" Daniel reached into his wallet. He pulled out a single $1 bill, the same worn bill he had saved all those years ago. He had kept it through everything, through failure, through success, through millions earned, because that dollar reminded him who he used to be. Daniel handed the bill to the boy. "This," he said, "is where everything began." The child stared at it, confused. "It's only $1. Daniel smiled. "Yes, but never underestimate small beginnings." The boy looked down at the bill carefully. And in that moment, Daniel saw himself again, hungry, poor, afraid, but also full of possibility. Because sometimes the difference between a broken future and a successful life begins with one tiny decision nobody else takes seriously. One workout, one page read, one skill learned, $1 saved. Most people destroy their future chasing comfort today, but the people who change their lives learn to sacrifice today for freedom tomorrow. That is the real difference. Not talent, not luck, not background, discipline, consistency, patience, the willingness to keep going when results are invisible. Daniel's story eventually spread across the country. Schools invited him to speak. Business leaders interviewed him. Young entrepreneurs treated him like a hero. But Daniel always ended every speech the same way. If you wait until you have enough money, enough confidence, or enough opportunities, you may never start. Your future changes the moment you stop underestimating small actions. And maybe that's the lesson most people desperately need to hear. You do not need to become successful overnight. You do not need perfect conditions. You do not need wealthy parents or lucky breaks to begin improving your life. You only need one decision, repeated consistently, for a very long time. Because the poor boy who saved $1 every day was never really building wealth. He was building himself. And, in the end, that changed everything. Please subscribe to watch more videos and level up your life.